Howdy doody. So, it's like my life is rebooting, remodeling, just ups and downs, highs and lows. You know, the water went down, the water came back up. It's like being on this roller coaster and they're like, you can have an extra turn, and you're like, no. I don't know if you remember it was called the Gravitron in my town. That looked like a spaceship you got in, and it spun round and round and round. And some of us, like me, were just stuck to the wall, like, oh my God, I want out, just make it stop. Other people were twisting and flipping and loving it. Oh, I can do whatever, there's no gravity. I'm not that person. Like, I'm not the one saying gravity, stay the hell away from me. I'm more like Charlie in the Chocolate Factory going, oh no, the fans, they're gonna get us. And how do we get down? I need my feet on the ground. I need to feel rooted. I need to feel like I'm not out of this world. So, in a moment right now, it's like a bubble in a champagne glass. Just like, what's going on? I don't know how many other people feel like this right now. I know there's the certain planets that we're in that energy, where they're affecting us. And you're talking about illusions and past traumas, and everything that can boil up is boiling up. And it's having to deal with those things. I was sewing last night, and I heard, let go. Like, stop being vengeful. And I thought, I have no vengeance in my heart. And then I had to go, well, how did I feel week and a half ago when I was breaking down, and my daughter went and called my son and said, you have to talk to mom, like, she's not okay. And at that moment, I remembered what I said. I remember how I felt, and there was like a little bit of seed of vengeance left inside of me. I wanted to see him suffer the way that I've had to toil and labor and work so hard and carry all the burdens on my back of the household and take care of my kids on my own, and just everything that put me back in survival mode. And it took me a long time to get out of survival mode. And honestly, I thought I was out, and I think I still had like one foot in. Like, I don't know if I'm ready to make this shift. I don't know if I can do it. The insecurities that come and eat us up, the emotions that take over, the ups and downs, the highs and lows, the everything. That's where faith comes in. And I have to keep reminding myself, I've been protected, guided, helped all along this path. And it still comes down to looking at the 3D matrix I'm in and going, but I'm not where I want to be. And then that turns into that bratty child. No, I didn't want that color ice cream. I wanted that ice cream. I don't want it. And I had to tell myself, stop being so particular. Stop wanting what you want and accept what you are given. We tell our children when they're young, take it or leave it. As adults, if the divine tells you take it or leave it and you choose to leave it, you might be in for a karmic ride. Or you could be waiting for something greater to come along. It just depends on who you are and what you're passing up. But it's hard. It's hard to sit here and say, no, I'm not going to accept that, and now you have to wait. We all have the ability to be very impatient. I myself have been dealing with that for a while now. Like, when does the other shoe drop? When do things get better? I walked away. I turned my back on that toxic relationship. I saved my children. This is 4.5 years ago. I thought things were going to just poof, life's good. I didn't know that I had so much to learn from that. The first step was walking away. I didn't realize I needed a plan in place. I didn't think that it was going to be in my hands. I didn't think that everything in my life was going to be tested, disrupted, thrown to the wayside, make me have to look at everything around me and go, is it for me or isn't it for me? Since the moment I walked away to now, I have met countless individuals that are in that same energy. The energy I walked away from, same energy, different face. And it doesn't show up the same way. It's not like, hey, I came back to put you back on the wagon. That's not how it shows up. It shows up debonair and suave and just, oh, I'll give you a shot. And then later on going, that's not the person I said I'd give a shot. I've been in relationships to where I chose to walk away and they talked me into staying. And then what came to transpire beyond that, I should have listened to what I was being guided to do. But for whatever reason in that moment, I allowed those people to make those choices for me. I allowed them to say, no, give me another chance. I have since learned, you got one shot. If you can't show what your mouth is suggesting you're willing to do, bye. Because that's where we learn value about ourselves. That's where we learn that we place ourselves higher than any toxic person that is going to reel us in and say, hey, let me do some future faking with you. Let me get you to believe that I might fall in love with you, that you could be worthy of what I have to offer. I don't have anything to offer, but you might be good to be on my repertoire of life. And it's funny because we put our power into other people's hands. I did it so much that yesterday I was like, oh my goodness, I have got to get back to where I was. And I had to take a walk, look at the damage that's been done, come home, soak in the bath, light some sage, pick up a needle, and with each stitch, think. Then my son called me in. For 2 hours, the boy had ear in one ear and talking to me with the other, and he was just singing. Just wanting to be home is where he's at in his life. Wanting to see family. And he will just call and just sit in silence and just listen. And it's funny, we all get like that, I think. I believe there's somebody in our lives that feels like home. Sometimes it's a parent, sometimes it's a spouse, sometimes it's our own children, sometimes it's somebody we meet. And that moment was just so surreal that it's like, wow, if I go back to that time, that's where I felt the most comfortable with being open about who I am, being myself, because that's what the world needs to see. Who I am, what I have to offer, what's in my head. Let me show you what's in my vault. Oh no. Sometimes that makes people go, oh, gasp. You really said that? You really think like that? And you don't. We all have some gray to us. Not everything's black and white. Just like when we want to believe, if I leave that, life gets better. Because I will tell you, there is a struggle that comes with leaving that which is not serving you. But in all honesty, it's well worth the crawling, toddling, walking, running that you will learn to do. Because if you stay in the moments that tear you down, you're always going to be flat on your back, flat on your face. Somebody else's plaything. That wasn't fun. I didn't like feeling like a punching bag. I didn't like feeling like a sounding board for somebody to spew hate. I didn't like the feeling of not being seen or heard. None of us do. Remember, your children don't like that either. It's on us to show them how to love and respect ourselves. And the hard part is when you're having to learn to do it alone. And hopefully by me sharing my story, I help with these things. And a lot of you help me. Just like you, Mr. John. I don't know if that's your real name. Saying be indifferent to them. They just want your attention. Yes, these are factual statements that we can latch on to the drama and the chaos. It's addicting. It gets your blood pumping. It gets you going, oh, they said what? Now you're in a group of friends. But are you really friends if all you're doing is gossiping about everything around you? Not lifting anything up, not working to get into a higher vibration, not working to change the future for the greater good, for the children we've brought into this world. We started acting less like guardians and more like succubuses and incubuses, sucking and draining the energy out of all that is beautiful in life, in the hopes of feeling like we're fulfilled. And that's the hard part, walking away from that which is not fulfilling you and the gap in between of waiting for what will. But while you're in that, I almost want to call it purgatory, while you're in that space of things aren't moving the way you thought they would, that's when you are doing inner reflection. That's when you're working to get yourself off the ground, because no one's going to pick you up. That's where you have to work to patch yourself back together. All the things in you that were broken, not because of a choice you made, but by actions that you allowed. I don't know if that sounds contradictory. Because a lot of times when we go into relationships, we go in elated and it's the honeymoon phase and oh, it's just so wonderful. And then all life just keeps happening. I noticed when my children were born, great shifts occurred. Mentally, emotionally, everything within my husband at the time started shifting. But I believed wholly in my vows that everything I committed to, I could not walk away from. And that got to a point where I had to tell myself, no God would be okay with this. No God would say, you made the bed, now lie in it. That's what gave me the strength to walk away. To understand my babies deserved more. I deserved more. And if I believed it or not at the time, I chose to make myself make that choice for them. Has it been worth it? Hell yes. Would I do it all over again if I had the same lessons to learn? Thing is, if you don't learn the lessons, you will do it again. That's the karmic wheel. So I'm going to leave it on that note and keep lifing. So sending you all big hugs, love, peace, and light.